Hello everyone, how are you this evening or this late afternoon, whatever you want to call it. I want to say welcome to another clip. This is clip number 55. Yes, clip number 55. And what am I going to call this clip? I'm going to call this clip The Law Concerning Unsolved Murder. This is in King James Version Bible. I'm at chapter 21. And I'm reading from verse, not reading a lot, just kind of like picking stuff out. Going from 21 verse 1 all the way to 9. I read this already, so I'm just going to kind of paraphrase it a little bit here. But anyways, in this little part of the Bible, it basically speaks about unsolved murder. So back in the day, if there was a body found dead around one of these cities that God gave his people, actually it was the people from Israel, basically they were instructed to measure where the body is to the surrounding cities, and whatever city was the closest to the person that was slain, meaning murdered, that city pretty much was responsible for that body. So back then was different than what it is now, guys. What they had to do back then is they had to get a heifer, which is a female baby cow, and they had to break its neck and pretty much offer it as a sacrifice to the Lord for the sin, for whoever killed this person. And that's how it was dealt with back then. Wow, I can't imagine if that way or law was in place now. That would just be absolutely crazy. People sinning all the time. We'd be chopping up animals all over the place. Remember, the animal had to be without blemish, meaning that it can't be like, one leg, scabs on it, disease, sickness, even dirty. It had to be holy and clean and pure before it was sacrificed. But I mean, if we lived according to the way they did back then, people would be pulling up to farmers' fields and getting female cows, jumping the fences just to purify. My gosh, I mean, we'd be purifying people's homes, purifying cities. I mean, gosh, there's dead people all the time. There's murdered people all the time. People would be bringing female cows, heifers to their house and, breaking their necks, slaughtering them, whatever you want to call it, and offering it as a sweet aroma to God, as a sacrifice, as forgiveness. Unbelievable the way they did things back then. See, now we don't have to do stuff like that, because now if you sin, you can take your sin to the feet of Jesus. You can ask him for forgiveness and you will be forgiven. That does not give you the right to go out and sin every day, sin all the time. You got to maintain and try not to sin. But if you do fall short, which we all do, you fall off that donkey, you fall off that horse, what do? You get back up, come back stronger, and try not to sin no more for another 900,000 kilometers. So that's the part that I just went over just now. I'm going to go over another part here. This is still Deuteronomy chapter 21. Now we're in verse 10, okay? In verse 10, the title is Female Captives. So basically back then too, if God's people were having war against other countries and cities around them, and they besiege it and take over it, and they take the captives. Well, if, say I was one of the leaders or people in the war, and we win the war, and I notice the captives, I see a beautiful woman. Well, if you see a beautiful woman, you want to take her and behold her and have her as your wife. You have to shave her head, you have to cut all her nails, and that's the way they were back then too with that, which is wild. I mean, it's interesting how they lived back then to how they live now. Let me just go over this a little bit here. Yeah, and you could basically have her as your wife. I just got the Bible here, so I'm just shooting through the Bible a little bit here. But you can have her as your wife. She shall put off the clothes of her captivity, remain in your house, and mourn her father and mother a full month. So basically for a full month, she would have to mourn her mother and father. And basically as she mourns her mother and father for a whole month, after that, you can go into her and have her as your wife. But if I no longer wanted her as my wife, and maybe I just didn't love her and it just didn't work out, I can let her go, but not as a slave, as I have humbled her. So I can basically just let her go, let her be free. And that's how, let me just check and make sure. And it shall be, if you have no delight in her, then you shall set her free, but you certainly shall not sell her for money. So you're not allowed to sell her for money. You shall not treat her brutally. Did you hear that, guys? You don't treat a woman brutally. And I'm sure I don't have to give you the definition of brutally. Treating a woman the way God said we should treat a woman is with respect, love, kindness, trust, loyalty, commitment, all those good qualities. So even if you don't want to be with a woman, that is how you're supposed to let the woman go. So there's two sections in Deuteronomy 21. I have one more I'm gonna go on about. Just barely getting any sunlight here, guys. I'm telling you, it gets so dark so fast. My gosh, time I get home, jet black. So I apologize, my video's not at the first, but I was trying to do it the first, but every time I get home, it's jet black. I don't really want it to do it in the house, because it's, you know, noisy, family, dogs, barking, all that stuff. So I just want a nice, quiet spot to do it. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll just pull over, find a nice area that looks reasonable and nice, and I'll do my video there. So continuing, Deuteronomy 21, verse 15. Firstborn inheritance rights. Back in the day too. If I had two wives, and one wife I loved and the other one I didn't love, and both of them bore me children, when it comes to my the inheritance of me, and I pass down my inheritance to my children, my possessions and all, if my first child was actually the woman that I was, you know, unloved, I didn't love her that much, I am still to honor that firstborn right, and that child is to receive his or her full inheritance and possessions passed down first. Double the portion, actually. That's what it says here in Deuteronomy 15 to 17. It basically says, if a man has two wives, one loved and the other unloved, and they have borne him children, both they loved and unloved, and if the firstborn son is of her who is unloved, then it shall be on the day he bequeaths his possessions to his sons, that he must not bestow firstborn status on the son of the loved wife in preference to the son of the unloved, the true firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the unloved wife as the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he has. For he is the beginning of his strength, and right of the firstborn is his. So, you know, even though you might have an unloved wife, and you married two wives back in the day, and you have children from both of them, if the unloved has a child for me first, that child receives the firstborn rights. The child of the loved wife, who I love more, that child gets possessions and rights as well, but he gets second possessions and rights, basically. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's enough to cover right now. We're working on 10 minutes here. I don't want this to be too long. So I will be back again, hopefully the 1st of December, with another clip. It would be clip number 56. And we will continue there with the rebellious son. And of course, my phone has to go off now. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I hope you like this word from the Bible. Again, I like to share the Bible with those of you that are interested in listening to my videos and listening to the Word of God. I read the Bible all the time. I read it so much. I keep learning stuff. Even though I read it, my gosh, I read it again. I go, oh, I missed that. Or every time I read it, I think of something different. Like, you know what I mean? Like this year, I've been reading the Bible and I take words out of the Bible. And if I don't understand the word or don't know the word, I look it up in definitions and Google so I can have an understanding of what the word means. And I'll put it in my notes on my phone so I can refer to it if I need to down the road. But anyways, this is for those of you, some of you that have a difficult time reading the Bible. Just trying to break it down to you. Chapter, verse to verse. It's very easy. You just got to take your time. You got to put your time into it. You got to study the Word of God. Ask God to give you great understanding and knowledge of His Word. And He will do that for you, as He has done for me. So, love you guys. God bless you. Take care of yourself. We're going through a real crazy world out there, guys. Real crazy world out there. There's so much happening in the world right now, which is in the Bible. God says there'll be great signs and wonders just before His return, His coming back. These are things that are going to happen. Nation against nation, city against city. I mean, I'm sitting back watching these things and going, oh my gosh, this is all in the Bible. It's in the Bible. God tells us about it. And you know, you see Ukraine and Russia going at each other. Now we have Israel and Hamas, Gaza. Oh my gosh, this is just, and in the world, all these things that are going on. Like, look at the shootings. That most recent one there with, what the heck was it? It was a mass shooting somewhere. Well, obviously we have the, I think it was what, October 6th, 30 days ago, the one in Israel. But there was one before that in some city or state. There was a shooting of a whole bunch of people again. I mean, this world is just off the chain, off the tracks. It's scary, guys. It's really scary. Keep God in your life. Keep Him number one. Keep praying. Keep close to your family. Love everybody. Hug everybody. And be safe. Be safe. Go to work. Go home. Take care of yourself. Stay away from trouble. Don't let people provoke you or push your button. Just turn your head, walk away, and go the other way. Anyways, God bless you guys. Love you. If it gets any darker here, I'm going to need my pillow and my bed. So I'm going to leave you with this, and we'll see you next time. God bless. Bye for now.